Pretty sketchy. If you're not paying attention, your foot goes in there, your whole body's falling. It's gorgeous though. Cold morning too, 37 here. But we're also around 4,000 feet elevation. The trail meanders over these boulders. Doing this before I actually do the backpacking loop. This is just a 1 mile trail. I wanted to check it out because it's right next to the Bear Creek Trail where the backpacking trip begins. It seems like these ridges are much longer in Virginia all the way up to Pennsylvania, whereas in North Carolina and Georgia and eastern Tennessee they are more jagged peaks, multi-layered. These have layers of ridges, but they're just long ridges stretching for many miles. It's like a little cave down there. Goes down there quite a ways. Ooh, look at that hummingbird. It just buzzed right past me. Trailhead, I call it Sundew Trail. And I was calling it Bear Creek, but it's Bear Rocks Trail is the old name, but I guess the new name is Sundew. So anyway, this is the official trail. During World War II, I think it was 1943, United States Army soldiers came out here to train in preparation for fighting overseas in the European theater in mountainous terrain. And that was also evident at Seneca Rocks yesterday, where I hiked. The sign had also said that they had trained in the rocky summit to prepare for mountainous terrain overseas. I just thought that was pretty interesting. They also said here in Dolly Sods that there's unexploded mortar shells, I think it is. So they say to stay on the trail because they don't know where they're all at. So that's a pretty interesting fact of history. Just came through my first muddy section. Now, it wouldn't be so bad if there were boardwalks where there's mud, but I don't think there is, because the reviews I've read, people have had to go through mud or try their best way around, I guess. But either way, I'm gonna have to deal with it. Beautiful day. Not a cloud in the sky. All right, so this is the first creek, Red Creek, and looks like a great camping spot. I see a fire pit right there on the other side. This would be a really tranquil spot to set up camp, but I'm doing the loop, so I got miles to make. But it is beautiful. And just came out of the meadow into the pine forest. Now that would be a cool spot to make camp, even though there's no water nearby. Just expansive views in this open meadow. It would be pretty awesome. Man, this is pretty amazing. I like it when you can see the trail like that. It just looks so cool. You can see where you're going all the way up. This Beaver View Trail is not as open as the Bear Rocks Trail. About ready to go into the thick pine forest. Yeah, you got to use a lot of different trails if you want to make a loop out here. I mean, there's a myriad of trails, but that Dobbins Grade Trail I'm avoiding for good reason from what I read. But I want to head down to the Lion's Head and then back up. I think it's, I don't remember the names of all the trails, there's so many. I think it's Red Creek Trail, where there's a lot of campsites, because I'd like to camp near water, but we'll see how many miles it turns out being, because I'm not following the official loop that All Trails has. I'm kind of just winging it based on what I had seen on the map, you know, when I had previewed it. That's what I'm loving about this trail. You go into the forest for a little bit and you come out to another amazing view. Look at that. It is beautiful. I've already said that several times, but for real, folks, if you've never been here, you might want to check it out. Albeit it is super popular, so get here early like I did. I was at the trail by 7:30. It was only a 50-minute drive from Seneca Shadows Campground, where I spent the night. And it was, I don't know how many miles down the forest road. Jordan Run Road. Well, that was actually a paved road, and then it was down towards Dolly Sods Road off of Jordan Run. So I don't remember the exact name. Forest Road 75, I guess. I don't know. I'd have to put it in the video, but it was a beautiful drive. And there was already the trailhead parking lot was already full. And I found the trail. I got off trail somehow because there was a T intersection there, and I just met two guys, the first people I've seen in almost 4 miles, and they said that it's kind of hard to follow the trail here. And sure enough, once I get to the bottom of the hill, I came to that lake, that pond, and there was no sign of a trail. So I looked on my map and I just started walking in the direction of the trail I see on the map, and sure enough, I found it. But these trails are not signed over here in this part of the wilderness, which I understand the wilderness is not supposed to have signs, but people do get lost all the time. But luckily I do use GPS. I've said this before, you should have a hard copy of a map, but again, I'm spoiled by technology, so worst came to worst, I guess I'd be spending a significant amount of time out here. No, I'm just kidding. I do have a Garmin InReach Mini, and where I don't have, here's where I should have taken the trail down the hill, but it just got lost in the rocks up there. But anyway, I do have satellite communication on my phone too, so worst came to worst, I'd use it. Map is showing me crossing on the other side of this pond, so I'm gonna go across on those rocks so I don't get all soaked. And the trail continues on the other side. So if you see what makes for a trail, it's just a lightly trodden path, which I don't think it gets a lot of foot traffic because it's barely discernible in places. But I mean, you lose it and then you pick it back up, which it looks like I'm losing it again. There, I'm picking it back up again too, though, where you can see that it's worn down. Anyway, I'm trying to get to the next trail intersection where there's a view. And, ooh, look at that. You never know what you're gonna find. A jawbone. Teeth still intact. I don't know what animal it is. Maybe a deer. The next trail intersection has a view called Rocky Knob. So that's why I was taking this path, because if I would have taken the trail on the left at the last T intersection, it would have had me missing it. And I didn't want to backtrack to be able to get to it. I'm trying to make a loop and, you know, get my miles in, but not by backtracking, if I could help it. All right, now almost at the end, I'm coming upon the intersection with the Rocky Ridge Trail and Rocky Knob. And now you could actually follow the trail. Isn't that some shit? That was just nothing but bushwhack through shrubs. As you can see, it's very, very thick. Shrubs, pine trees, boulder fields. I wouldn't recommend this trail for my worst enemy. Unless you like that sort of a thing. I mean, my pace was really slowed down too. I mean, it was pretty cool though. Found that jawbone. You know, I always say, you never know what you're gonna find in the woods, especially when you go off trail. But coming upon the intersection now. It should look like this is the Rocky Ridge Trail. Look at how well defined it is. You wouldn't have a problem with this trail. But I came up through all that crap. So I'm gonna take a break up here at Rocky Knob, which is just up ahead. All right, this isn't the Lion's Head. This is still on Rocky Ridge Trail. I just wanted to comment. It really does look like a lion's head though. That is pretty neat. It looks like it's been sculpted. If nature did that, that's pretty amazing. Wind and time, I guess. That's pretty neat. I've never seen a boulder formed like that before. Anyway, there's plenty more boulders to look at. There's the view from Rocky Knob. It's very windy up here. And it's much cooler because I'm exposed. You can see that the Allegheny Mountains here in West Virginia, they resemble my home state of Pennsylvania. They're more flat top, long ridges, as I said earlier. Whereas the Blue Ridge are more rugged and jagged peaks. Must have had something to do with the last ice age, with erosion when the glaciers receded, I guess. There's another cool find. Guess it's a young buck skull. Just starting to sprout antlers. They're not showing all the trails on the map that I have on my Gaia app, but this is kind of the configuration I'm following. If I can step over here without stepping in the mud. Started over here at the Bear Rocks trailhead and took something to this configuration here, came down this way, and making my way around, was that counterclockwise, and that's where I'm at, obviously. Coming down here, that's where the Lion's Head is. That's a point of interest. And then I'm going to come back up this way and make camp somewhere in this area here. And I don't know if I'm going to take that. I think that might be Dobbin's Grade. If that's Dobbin's Grade, I'm avoiding that. But there's some other trails up in this area here to close the loop. And I might have to walk the road from here to here. So that won't be too bad. Anyway, you get an idea of how I'm doing this loop. Instead of following All Trail suggestion, which takes you on Dobbin's Grade, I'm making my own route. Now you can avoid Lion's Head by taking Breathed Mountain Trail. That would cut the loop a little shorter by several miles. Not exactly sure how many miles, but it would cut it short. So since I'm interested in going to Lion's Head, I'm taking Big Stone Coal Trail. And like I said, that'll put me up near some nice campsites according to the map. Anybody care for a taste of Rocksylvania? It's what they call the section in Pennsylvania on the AT. Kind of reminds me of New Hampshire too. It's a lot of rocks. Gotta watch your step. All right, check this out. For a moment, I thought the trail, which is right over there, was going to take me through this flooded forest. But you just have to find your way and meander around that pine tree right there, and it continues over here. But yeah, I was not liking that idea, and I didn't want to turn around because I would lose time, because I've already come several miles on this trail now. But there would be no way I'd walk through that. I don't even know how deep that is in the deepest place, but hell to the no. That's a damn bog. Okay, and where the hell is the actual trail? The trail's meandering in and out of the pine forest alongside the bog. So just FYI, if you guys do this trail, the whatever the hell it's called again, the Stone Coal Trail, Big Stone Coal Trail, I see what people were talking about by the fact that Dolly Sods has some muddy trails, because there's mud, and it's a lot of confusion too as to where the trail picks up, because you lose it every once in a while. I've been seeing a plethora of really great campsites here too, and this would be the type of campsite I'd be looking for, is in a pine forest protected from the wind, but yet close to the water because there's a stream over there. So that would be ideal. So hopefully I could find that up ahead when I'm ready to make camp, but it's only 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I like to keep hiking until about 6 o'clock. That's usually when I like to finish up. But I've walked into the dark too, but this way it'll give me a full day. I won't have as much to do tomorrow. Maybe I can knock out 16, 18 miles today. There's some tall spruce trees. I believe they're spruce trees. All right, I don't know the name of this waterfall, but this creek is called Stone Coal Run, for which the trail is named for. So I'm going to call it Stone Coal Run Falls. Had to come over here cliffside to get a view. Too sunny to have it look really good, so photography is not going to do it justice. Deer is so used to people, she's not even afraid. She got startled at first, but I'm approaching her, albeit slowly, and she's not too worried about me. I guess they're so used to seeing people. Need I remind you guys, this is true wilderness, because there's no trail signs here, but there's a cairn that marks the spot, and you would easily pass this by and not even be able to tell that that's a trail there, unless you're paying attention. So sure enough, this is the one I want to get to Lion's Head. Only a leap from the Lion's Head, he will prove his worth. I think something like that, because I've been kind of leapfrogging. I've been kind of jumping from rock to rock here. There's another vantage point. All right, I confess to a stupid mistake, folks. You know how you always seem to forget something last minute when you're going on a backpacking trip? Well, of all things to forget, I forgot my insoles in my trail runners, my ultras, and they've seen better. All right, this is the way down, folks. Scramble on my butt. Hopefully I don't tear anything like my pants. All right, that's going to be the sketchy part down there, but the trail's right over there. So let me put this away because I need both hands. I'll show you guys around a little better. If I didn't earlier, I apologize. But I'm on an island on the Red Creek. I'm all set up. Just had dinner, and I have slightly noisy neighbors behind me across the creek. There's another island right there, and then there's the mainland where I came from over there. And that's where I'm crossing in the morning to continue. 5 miles to go. Alright, so tonight I'm having peak refuel, cheesy chicken and broccoli. And I got this for breakfast. This is always one of my favorites. The Backpacker's Pantry granola with blueberries, almonds, and milk. You don't even have to heat that up. It's really good. I didn't show you my tent. I mean, it's right there. If you can see it. Get out of the frame here. So I set up down there because I feel like it's a little more protected in case it gets breezy tonight. You know, between those two pine trees there. I could have set up over there, but it's more exposed. But anyway, I'm going to chill here. I went 16 miles today, and the fact that I forgot my insoles, my feet are hurting, and I feel like I don't have that shock absorption, that cushion, you know, so my ankle is hurting too. Both ankles, actually. Not just the one I injured back almost 10 years ago, but both ankles. Just no shock absorption with a lack of insoles. So anyway, I'm going to eat this and relax. Oh, that was eerie. Coyotes howling. Might hear it again soon. I hope the audio can pick that up. That is really neat. Alright, excuse the light. It's 5:30 in the morning. There were some rowdy kids that came into my camp at 1:47 in the morning. Woke me up. Actually, I think I was already awake. I don't know. I don't really remember. Either way, they were loud. And one kid came up to my camp, and I had my light on. That light right there. It fell on the floor. It's on my trekking pole. And he's like, "Oh, I see a light." And he turned around. But anyway, yeah, I slept all right. I'm going to get some breakfast and get back on the trail. I think I'm going to cut it short by walking the road a little bit. It's supposed to be 5 miles out of here, but I think if I walk the road, it'll shave a mile off. My ankle, my right ankle that I injured years ago, is hurting. And that's my own fault because I forgot my insoles. Like I said, they act as a shock absorber, and there were a lot of rocks on this trail, so my ankle's feeling it today. Normally it's not this bad, you know, when I do a lot of miles on trail. So much for the value of insoles, huh? So anyway, the road walk is nothing dramatic or anything, no views, but like I said, it'll shave a mile off probably. I'll let you know when it's all said and done. All right, back on trail, 6:50 a.m. Hit the snooze button twice on my alarm. Had it set for 5, so I'm off to a later start. I wanted to get up at 5 and leave by 6, but that's okay. If I choose to go home today, I have a 7.5 hour drive. I was either going to go to Pennsylvania or go down to Shenandoah National Park on my way home, but I'm not sure because I don't know if I want to hike too much more on account. I still have 4 to 5 miles to get out of here, and my ankle's still bothering me, and I need at least a day or two to rest. But I was gonna go to Pennsylvania to see family. But honestly, I need an oil change in my car, and I'm pretty beat. So I might just go home. We'll see how it plays out. I'm really finding this to be very beautiful. I don't know if these are alder trees. The next campsite is on Alder Run Stream, right before you get to Red Creek Campground, right off the main road. But I'm not really knowledgeable about my species of trees, but if these are alder trees, I'm gonna find out, or somebody could comment. But it's really beautiful here, especially in the early morning light. There's the next campsite I probably should have gone to last night, albeit the one I went to last night was really good. I mean, this is pretty nice too, and it looks like there's a stream right beside it. Probably wouldn't have had rowdy kids coming through late at night waking me up, but either way, that is a nice campsite. Made it back to the forest road. Now let's see how far of a walk it is to get back to my car at Bear Rocks Preserve. I'm thinking 2 miles, but I might be off by a little bit. I made it back to the car. It turned out to be 2.4 miles of road walk, and it was almost 4 miles from where I left camp. Total mileage was 20.2 miles and just over 2,000 feet of elevation gain. So my final summary on this hike is I wouldn't come back unless I was already in the area. 7.5 hours drive, and we have just as good, if not better, actually I would say better, hikes closer to home. If you live in southern Appalachia, I probably wouldn't drive this far. If you're already in the area though, Pennsylvania, West Virginia, Maryland, Ohio, you know, this is great. This is a really good trail, but it kind of reminds me of Grayson Highlands in southern Virginia in the Mount Rogers recreation area, but honestly I'd say that's better. Same type of terrain, open meadows, but minus the ponies here, which is really cool, you know, to see wild ponies. Also Roan Mountain, Tennessee, they're a lot closer to home for me. You know, Grayson Highlands is only 2.5 hours away. Roan Mountain is 1.5 hours away. So 500 miles, 7.5 hours. You know, it's a little bit of extreme, you know, to drive that far unless you want to check out all the hikes on the East Coast. Which, what they could have done better though is honestly they could have probably had some signs at the confusing junctions so as to avoid the chance of people getting lost. Because that bushwhack I did yesterday, no joke, that was a butt kicker. Anyway, that's my my take on the matter. It is a great place to explore, and you know, if I was in the area, I'd definitely come back, but not for almost 8 hours drive. So anyway, thanks for listening to me rant, and check me out on the next adventure. If you like the content, please like, subscribe, share. All that good stuff goes a long way towards helping the channel. Thanks a lot.